I want to talk to you tonight about something that is so close to you, so intimate, that many of you have never even stopped to consider its true power. I'm not here to talk about some distant, mystical secret. No, I'm here to talk about the very place where you lay your head down each night. I'm here to talk about your bed. Now, some of you might be thinking, it's just a bed, it's a frame, some springs, a mattress. Oh, but my friend, if you believe that, you have been robbed of one of the greatest blessings God has given you for your restoration and your strength. Your bed is not just a piece of furniture, it is your personal sanctuary. It is holy ground. Think about it with me for a moment. Where do you go when the world has beaten you down? When the pressures of the day have squeezed every last ounce of strength from you? When your mind is racing and your heart is heavy? You go to your bed. It is the first place we know as a child, a place of safety and comfort, and it is the place we return to as adults, seeking that very same refuge. You will spend fully 1/3 of your entire life in that space. 1/3. Tell me, does it make any sense at all to treat a place of such immense importance as if it were a common closet or a storage shelf? This is the place where your physical body is meant to be repaired. While you sleep, your cells regenerate, your muscles rebuild, your mind processes and files away the events of the day. It is a biological miracle that happens night after night, but it is so much more than just the physical. This is the place where your spirit is meant to find quiet. It is where you are most vulnerable, most open, most receptive. In the stillness of the night, that is when God often speaks in a still, small voice. That is when inspiration can dawn. That is when healing for your deepest wounds begins to seep into your soul. But you see, the enemy of your peace knows this. He knows the power of this sanctuary. And if he can desecrate that holy ground, if he can clutter it and fill it with chaos and distraction, then he can cut you off from your very source of renewal. He can ensure you wake up as tired as when you went to sleep, that you face the new day with the old day's burdens still firmly strapped to your back. When you treat your bed as common, when you pile it with the day's clothes, with unpaid bills, with yesterday's mail, with the clutter and the debris of your busy life, what are you doing? You are sending a signal to your soul. You are saying, there is no rest here. There is no peace here. This is just another place for unfinished business and unresolved anxiety. You are building an altar to worry right in the place where you are supposed to be releasing your faith. And this, my dear friends, is the fertile ground where poverty first takes root. Not just financial poverty, though that can surely be a consequence, but a deeper, more devastating poverty. The poverty of rest, the poverty of peace, the poverty of a quiet mind and a restored spirit. When you are impoverished in your rest, you are operating from a place of lack all day long. You are trying to draw water from an empty well. You become short-tempered, your judgment is clouded, your creativity withers, and you start making decisions from a place of desperation and exhaustion, not from a place of wisdom and abundance. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and a bed that is not a true sanctuary ensures your cup remains bone dry. So before I ever tell you what specific item you must remove tonight, you must first understand the profound truth of what your bed is meant to be. It is your divine recharge station. It is the inner court of your temple. It is the one place on this earth that is uniquely entirely for you, for your restoration, for your health, for your intimacy with your spouse, and for your communion with God. We must treat it with the reverence it deserves. We must guard its sanctity as if our very lives depend on it, because in so many ways, they do. So tonight, I want you to make a decision to reclaim your sanctuary. And so, having seen the sacred nature of that place of rest, we must now confront the great intruder. The one thing that, more than any other, has been invited into our sanctuaries to steal, to kill, and to destroy the peace we so desperately need. I am talking about that little device so many of you are clutching in your hand right now, or feeling for in your pocket. I am talking about your smartphone. Oh, I know what you're thinking. But it's my connection to the world. It's my work, my family, my news. And by day, it can be a useful tool, I grant you that. But I am here to tell you tonight that when the sun goes down, this thing undergoes a terrible transformation. It ceases to be a tool and becomes a thief. It becomes a modern-day energy vampire, and you are inviting it right into the most vulnerable place in your life. Let me show you how this thief operates. First, it attacks your very body. It emits a cold blue light, a light that tricks your God-given biology into thinking it is still midday. It shouts at your pineal gland, "Stay awake, the sun is still high, do not release the melatonin, do not enter into deep restorative sleep." And your poor confused body obeys. You toss and you turn, you wonder why you cannot find rest, never realizing that you have brought a counterfeit sun into your bedchamber and it is holding your healing hostage. This is the physical robbery, the poverty of true, deep, life-giving sleep. But my friends, the physical theft is the least of it. The greater danger, the spiritual danger, lies in what this device brings into your sanctuary. Think of it. That little screen is a doorway. It is a portal that you fling wide open, allowing anything and everything to come rushing into your place of peace. And what comes rushing in? The anxiety of unfinished work emails comes rushing in. The bitterness of a social media argument comes rushing in. The spirit of covetousness and comparison as you scroll through the curated, perfect lives of others comes rushing in. The fear from the latest bad news headline comes rushing in. The lust from images that have no business in a holy place comes rushing in. You are laying down in your bed, in your most receptive state, and you are filling your mind, your soul, your spirit with chaos, with fear, with strife, and with sin. You are trying to find rest while drinking from a fire hose of poison. This is the bad energy I'm talking about. It's not some mysterious fog. It is the very real, tangible spiritual residue of worry, envy, and distraction that clings to you from that device. You are trying to receive a word from the Lord in the stillness, but you have filled the room with 1,000 other voices, all shouting for your attention. You are trying to connect with your spouse in intimacy, but the ghost of the office or the social media feed is lying right there between you. You are praying for prosperity, for abundance, for a breakthrough, but how can you possibly receive it when your hands are so tightly clenched around a device that constantly tells you what you lack? This is how it invites poverty. It's not that the phone itself is evil. It's that it actively cultivates a state of lack within you. It robs you of the rest that is the foundation of prosperity. It fills you with anxieties that block the flow of faith. It distracts you from the still, small voice that might be whispering the very idea, the very solution, the very opportunity you have been praying for. You are praying for a financial miracle while simultaneously engaging in an activity that ensures your mind is too cluttered and tired to recognize the opportunity when it comes. You are asking for abundance while actively practicing the habits of spiritual and emotional bankruptcy. You have been tricked into believing this device is your connection to life, when in your bed, in your sanctuary, it is the very thing that is disconnecting you from the source of all life. It is a chain, and you have fastened it to your own wrist and placed the key right beside you on the nightstand. So I say to you tonight, see this thing for what it truly is when the lights go out. It is not your friend. It is not your helper. It is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and you have been inviting it to lie down with the lambs. The time has come to shut the door, so we see the thief for what it is. But I tell you, the greatest tragedy is not the theft itself, but what is left in its wake. We have been talking about poverty, and some of you, I know, are thinking of dollars and cents. But tonight I want to show you a deeper truth. There is a poverty that comes long before the bank account is empty. It is a poverty of the soul, a poverty of strength, a poverty of the very substance you need to build an abundant life, and it begins with the robbery of your rest. When that device lies beside you, sabotaging your sleep, it is not just stealing a few hours of unconsciousness. It is stealing your tomorrow. It is stealing your clarity. It is stealing your divine edge. Think of a farmer, a good farmer, who goes out to plow his field. But he has been up all night. His hands are shaky. His eyes are blurry. His mind is foggy. He cannot see the straight line. He cannot guide the plow. He works twice as hard and accomplishes half as much. The sun is the same. The field is the same. The seed is the same. But the farmer is impoverished. He has nothing to draw from. This is you. when you wake up exhausted, when you drag yourself out of that bed more tired than when you lay down. You are that impoverished farmer. You are trying to plow the fields of your life, your career, your relationships, your ministry, from a place of utter depletion. Your judgment is clouded. That sharp intuition God gave you, it's dulled. That creative idea that was supposed to come, it can't find its way through the fog in your mind. That patience you need with your children, it's been replaced with a short fuse. This is how the spiral begins. In your exhaustion, you make a poor financial decision, an impulsive purchase to make yourself feel better, a missed detail in a contract, a lack of focus that costs you a client. In your weariness, you speak a harsh word to your spouse, creating a rift that takes days to heal, draining your emotional energy further. In your mental fog, you lack the discipline to pursue the project God put on your heart, the one that could have been a door to your destiny. You see, the poverty of rest creates a poverty of mind, which leads to a poverty of action, which manifests as a poverty in your circumstances. You are praying for provision, but you are too tired to recognize the opportunity when it knocks. You are praying for healing in your relationships, but you are too irritable to extend the grace required. You are asking God for abundance, all while you are actively cooperating with a spirit of exhaustion that guarantees you will lack the strength, the wisdom, and the clarity to manage that abundance if it ever came. You are asking for a harvest, but you are refusing to let the ground of your own life lie fallow and be restored. This is the deepest poverty of all, the poverty of potential. It is the gap between who you are called to be and who you are right now. A gap widened night after night by a simple, foolish habit. That little device on your nightstand is not just interrupting your sleep, it is interrupting your destiny. It is ensuring that you face your giants with a slingshot of confusion instead of the smooth stone of faith and focus. It is dimming the very light that is within you, the light that is meant to guide your path and attract God's blessings. The wealthiest place on the planet is not a gold mine or an oil field. The wealthiest place on the planet is the graveyard, where dreams, inventions, songs, and businesses that were never built lie buried with the people who never had the energy or the courage to bring them forth. Don't you see? The enemy doesn't have to destroy you. He just has to distract you and tire you out enough that you destroy yourself. He just has to ensure you are too weary to fight, too foggy to pray, too drained to believe. The foundation of all prosperity, spiritual, emotional, and yes, financial, is a spirit that is rested, a mind that is clear, and a body that is strong. You cannot build a palace on the foundation of a ruin. So I ask you, what has your poverty of rest already cost you? Now some of you hear me talk about bad energy, and you think I'm speaking in some vague, mystical terms. You think it's something you can't see, you can't touch, so maybe it isn't really there. But I am here to tell you tonight that the spiritual realm is more real than the chair you are sitting on. And there is a law, a divine principle that governs the flow of blessing in your life. You can call it what you want, but the Bible says, whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. You are sowing something in your bedroom, and you are reaping the harvest in your life. Think of your spirit, your inner man, as a vessel. God desires to fill that vessel to overflowing with peace, with wisdom, with creative ideas, with divine connections, with every good and perfect gift that constitutes true prosperity. But this filling, this flow, requires a vessel that is clean, that is open, and that is positioned correctly to receive. It requires an atmosphere of faith, of stillness, of receptivity. Now, I want you to picture your bed, your sanctuary, as that very place of positioning. It is meant to be a place where the channel is wide open, where the clutter of the day has been cleared away, where your soul is quiet, and where your faith is rising like a sweet incense. In that stillness, in that trust, is the power to receive. That is the good energy, that She, the anointing, the favor of God, call it what you will, that flows into you and prepares you for the abundance of the day to come. But what happens when you bring that phone into that space? You are not just bringing a piece of plastic and glass. You are bringing a whirlwind. You are bringing a spiritual tornado into your place of peace. Every notification, that ping, is a tiny shock to your spirit, breaking your concentration, shattering your peace. Every unresolved work email you check is a hook of anxiety you deliberately set in your own soul. Every scroll through a social media argument is an invitation for a spirit of strife to come and make its home with you. Every worrisome news headline is a seed of fear that you are planting in the most fertile ground of your mind, right as you are about to enter the subconscious state of sleep. This, my friends, is the bad energy. It is not a ghost. It is the very real, tangible spiritual static of worry, of envy, of lust, of fear, of bitterness, and you are marinating in it all night long. You are trying to receive a fresh inflow of blessing, of provision, of ideas, while you are simultaneously plugged into a sewer of chaos. You are praying, Lord, give me peace, while you are holding a live wire of anxiety in your hand. You are asking for prosperity, but the channel is clogged with the debris of 1,000 distractions. This is why you feel blocked. This is why you feel like your prayers are hitting the ceiling. It's not that God isn't listening. It's that you have created an environment of such spiritual noise and interference that you cannot hear his answer, and you have no room in your spirit to receive it. You have turned your place of receiving into a place of draining. You have placed a lock on your own vessel. Prosperity, in its truest sense, is a flow. It is a river. It requires an open channel. But worry, fear, strife, resentment, these are not just feelings, they are spiritual blockages. They are boulders thrown into the river of your life, damming up the flow of blessing until all that is left is a trickle. That phone in your bed is a boulder delivery service, operating all night long while you sleep. You must understand, the battle for your abundance is not just fought in the marketplace or the office. It is fought in the quiet of your bedroom. It is won or lost in the decisions you make about what you allow into that sacred space. The enemy knows that if he can pollute the wellspring, the whole river will be poisoned. If he can block the channel at its source, nothing will flow into the rest of your life. So I ask you tonight, what are you allowing to block your flow? But I did not come here tonight just to show you the problem. God be praised, he always makes a way out. He always provides a prescription for the ailment. And this one, my friends, is not a complicated, difficult thing. It is simple. It requires not your strength, but your obedience. It requires a decision. Tonight, you can begin to take back your sanctuary. You can begin to cleanse the temple and reopen the channel of blessing, and it starts with one single powerful act. I want you to appoint a new charging station for that phone. Not on your nightstand, not under your pillow. I want you to choose a place outside of your bedroom. Let it be the kitchen counter. Let it be a table in your living room. Let it be a shelf in your hallway. Anywhere that is not within the sacred walls of your bedchamber. That simple act, that physical removal, is a spiritual declaration. It is you drawing a line in the sand and saying, this far and no farther. You may not enter my place of peace. Now I can hear the objections rising up. But it's my alarm clock. Go to the store and buy an alarm clock for $5. Let a dedicated, simple, single-purpose machine do that job. But what if there's an emergency? I tell you the truth. For 99% of the so-called emergencies that come in the night, they can wait until the morning. And for the true, life-altering emergency, people have been knocking on doors for centuries. The world managed to function before you carried a phone in your pocket, and it will function if you let it rest for a few hours. This is not about deprivation. This is about liberation. You are not losing a lifeline. You are cutting a chain. You are setting a boundary around your soul. And this act must begin before you even enter the bedroom. I want you to institute what I call a digital sunset. 1 hour, just 1 hour, before you intend to go to sleep. That is when you take the phone to its new home. You plug it in, you walk away, and you do not look back. And in that holy hour between putting the world away and closing your eyes, you must fill the space with life. The devil abhors a vacuum, and if you simply sit in silence with a restless mind, he will fill it for you. So you must be intentional. This is your time to reset the atmosphere of your spirit. Pick up a real paper book, perhaps the greatest book ever written, the Bible, and read a psalm. Let those words of peace and trust wash over you. Take a notebook and write down your worries, your to-do list for tomorrow, and then close the book and symbolically give them to God. Speak to your spouse. Hold their hand. Look into their eyes and remember the connection that no device can ever replace. Pray. Not a frantic last-minute list of requests, but a quiet, listening prayer, a prayer of gratitude. This is how you cleanse the channel. This is how you sweep the temple clean. You are replacing the frantic blue light with the soft glow of a lamp. You are replacing the noise of the world with the sound of your own thoughts, or with sweet communion. You are replacing the spirit of anxiety with a spirit of gratitude and trust. This is not a punishment. It is the highest form of self-care. It is an act of faith. It is you saying to God, I trust you enough with my world, with my family, with my business, that I can disconnect from it for a few hours to connect with you. You are trading the poverty of distraction for the wealth of presence. You are trading the bad energy of chaos for the good energy of peace. The prescription is simple, but its power is profound. It will feel strange at first. You will feel a pull, an anxiety, a phantom limb. But I urge you, press through it. After 3 nights, you will notice a difference. After a week, you will wonder how you ever lived any other way. You will wake up not reaching for a screen, but reaching for the new day, with a clear mind and a quiet spirit, ready to receive all that God has for you. So tonight, on your way home, I want you to make a decision. Find a new home for that phone. Now, some of you might be looking at this as a small thing. It's just a phone. It's just a habit. Oh, my dear friends, never, ever underestimate the power of a single faithful obedience in a seemingly small area, for it is in these small acts of consecration that the greatest revivals in a human life are born. This simple act of reclaiming your sanctuary is not the end of the story. It is the glorious beginning. It is the first domino that falls, setting off a chain reaction of blessing that will touch every single corner of your existence. Think of it. When you begin to sleep deeply, when you wake up truly restored, what happens? You are no longer that impoverished farmer, stumbling through his field. You are a sharpened axe. You are a well-oiled machine. Your mind is clear. That idea you've been praying for, the business idea, the creative solution, the word of wisdom for a friend, it finds a quiet, receptive mind to land in, and it takes root. Your judgment is sound. You see opportunities you were too tired to see before. You discern the wrong paths you were too foggy to avoid. That is not just good sleep, that is wisdom. And wisdom is a form of wealth the world cannot counterfeit. Your emotions begin to heal. That short fuse grows longer. The patience you need with your children rises up naturally from a well-rested spirit, not from a frantic, depleted effort. Your relationships begin to mend because you have the emotional capacity to listen, to forgive, to engage. You become a vessel of peace in your own home because you have been filled with peace in the night watches. And strong, healthy relationships are a form of prosperity that no amount of money can buy. And yes, your financial life will feel the ripple. How could it not? When you are clear-headed, you make better decisions. When you are creative, you see new streams of income. When you are patient, you don't jump at foolish get-rich-quick schemes. When you are full of faith and not fear, you have the courage to step out when God opens a door. You begin to operate from an energy of abundance, not an energy of lack. You stop making decisions from desperation and start making them from a place of divine rest and wisdom. You become a magnet for God's goodness because your entire being is aligned with peace, with order, and with receptivity. This one change, this act of drawing a boundary around your rest, does not just improve your sleep. It changes your entire spiritual ecosystem. You have cleared the blockages from the river. You have removed the boulders of worry and fear. And when the river flows freely, it brings with it everything that is tied to the current of God's Spirit: life, healing, creativity, connection, and provision. You are not just avoiding bad energy. You are positioning yourself in the very flow of divine grace. You came here tonight perhaps wondering about poverty and bad energy, thinking about superstition and lack, but I am sending you out with a key to abundance. You have the power tonight to change the atmosphere of your life, starting in the most intimate place of your home. This is not about a rule to follow. It is about a life to receive. It is about stepping out of the chaotic current of the world and into the still, deep, powerful waters of God's rest. So go home tonight. Make that declaration. Unplug from the chaos and plug into the source of all peace. For when you guard your sanctuary, you are not just protecting your sleep. You are preparing your life for a harvest.